broken system, chained and tangled up in lies. Voices shouting, screaming in defeat. Politicians playing games under darkened skies. Hope lost in the dust of the street. To anger, the crowd gets loud. Punches flying in the blink of an eye. Truth buried deep beneath the shroud. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak don't survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Flashing perfect teeth, but behind those eyes just rotting greed. Politicians turn to whispers beneath. They all just get what they need. Whispering conspiracies, drowning in their lies. Echoes of freedom, lost in cries. Spin the wheel of fate, let's see who rise. But this game will bleed you dry. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Dreams we defend, trying to keep alive.
The worst cat ever.
Well, all cats are the worst cat ever.
Yeah. Well, he's really the worst.
Welcome. It's Sunday night, so it's time for another episode of the Bullpen. Tonight it's just me and Comix flying without Lil Chad, because Lil Chad's down on vacation for this week and next week. So
he's being a good dad.
Yep, taking the kid to Universal, I believe is what he had said. So we've got a show, although the show completely changed about 5-10 minutes ago, all the way through the last hour, because apparently the government is being reopened. So,
oh no,
everything that I put together about the shutdown and Obamacare and a whole bunch of other stuff and the filibuster doesn't apply now. So I guess we'll start there. The government is looking to reopen. Last I saw, John Cornyn, they could not find him, and he is the last vote. And that would actually, this was a test vote to get it to test kind of where everybody was. Enough Democrats did come over. And it looks to be pretty much a cave-in. They are getting nothing as far as the Affordable Care Act, except for the promise of a vote on Affordable Care Act in December.
Whether what, to keep it going or repeal it?
To reactivate the subsidies that are set to expire in December that were put in during COVID, because turns out the Affordable Care Act is not affordable in any way. So during COVID, they had to, during COVID, they had to extend more tax subsidies to be able to have more people on the Affordable Care Act, because people were not making any money during COVID. And those were always set to sunset this year in December. So that is, I mean, when they're talking about the healthcare stuff, yes, there was the Medicare and Medicaid to illegals that we were fighting against.
Yeah.
But it was also,
which they said wasn't in there, which was totally in there.
Totally in there. the other part of it, when they're saying 20 million Americans are going to, probably lose their health care. No, 20 million Americans that have been subsidized by the rest of the Americans for the last, what has it been now, 15, 16 years?
God, I guess it has
are
been
now
that
going
long.
to pay the prices that I've paid for the whole time, because I can't get onto the Affordable Care Act. I have to be actually in the market. So do a lot of self-employed people. And I realize there's a few people that probably do need the subsidies, but at the same time, I've paid full price the whole time, and I can't even use my health insurance without like taking out a HELOC. If I had to actually get any treatment of any kind, I would have to tap my HELOC to be able to pay my deductible.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's on top of paying a couple $1,000 a month for health insurance.
Okay. I know that my wife was talking about, she was complaining about her health insurance going up, because I'm on her health care because my job that I have has it, but it's kind of crappy. And it went up really a lot. And so she ended up switching over to a higher deductible one, which kind of frightens me, with only 2 people on it. But I think it was like $5,000 was the one we had before.
I'm at like 18,500.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that's just to make it affordable enough that I can actually pay the monthly. I would be better off self-insuring at this point.
Wow. But
I also have a child who is still under 18. So we haven't pulled that trigger yet. And I'm a smoker and I have a slight drinking problem. So, should
all those
probably
good
have health
things that will
insurance,
keep your
but
rates. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna have to tap the equity in my house in order to do anything anyway, what's the point? I mean, I'd be saving $2,000 or so a month, and we get no subsidies. So, real quick, Jaffo celebrating a full year of membership. That means he's probably been here since memberships opened. The Affordable Care Act was never affordable. Nope. They make college students who take out student loans pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the whole plan with the Affordable Care Act, and this was kind of part of what we were going to talk about in the show, because this is why the Democrats are really freaking out about this. Those subsidies expiring just shows that the Affordable Care Act was never an affordable thing. Mm-hmm. The whole idea of the Affordable Care Act was, I'm going to go with Obamacare. I hate saying Affordable Care Act over and over. So the whole thing with Obamacare was literally that you have the young and healthy subsidizing everybody who is old and has health issues.
Right. Which means that everybody had to be on it.
Yes, which is why they implemented the fine if you did not carry insurance. And so that basically said to 18 to 25 or 18 to 30-year-olds, essentially, you're going to be paying higher when you're lower earners in order to cover all the people that already have issues. And that's where that, the pre-existing conditions thing came in, right?
Right.
Which made it not health insurance anymore at all, because insurance is for something that might happen, not something that has already happened. So if you get cancer and you didn't have insurance before, you weren't being responsible in carrying insurance. So now everybody has to carry insurance in order to make sure that the person who didn't do it ends up having coverage for something when they wouldn't have before. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a big mess.
It's kind of a messy deal. I mean, whether it's what we see overseas and how they do healthcare, or here in the United States, I mean, it's the whole medical system and the insurance system is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it was intentional.
Yes,
Libra View is right. The whole point of the ACA was for it to break down so that they could then get us to single payer during Hillary Clinton's presidency.
Which
didn't happen. So the system has just been breaking more and more and more. COVID broke it even more, because then you have these subsidies coming in because nobody could pay for anything, because the government decided to tell us all we couldn't do anything. And here we are. Those subsidies are about to expire. People are going to go up, double or triple the cost of their premium right now. And that just gets them back on par with the rest of us that have been doing it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Daly for $5. Thank you, sir. The Affordable Care Act wasn't affordable. The Inflation Reduction Act didn't stop inflation, and the Georgia voter fraud bill stopped no voter fraud. Correct on all three counts.
But it's okay. There's no problem too small that government doesn't care about, and no problem too big for them to tackle. So it's fine, guys. It's all fine.
Yep. So we should have any minute now. We should have something saying that that vote went through, and the government will be pretty much clear to reopen again. And like I said, I think the only major concession was that there would be a vote on those subsidies in December. So we'll see how that goes. Because honestly, you're screwing up everything if you put those subsidies back through, if you're the Republicans, because that buys a year, which sets up a whole health insurance, and it sets up all of that for the midterms. It gives them a topic. And really, we need to keep hammering on this is all due to the Democrats. They passed Obamacare with not a single Republican vote. They passed the subsidies without a single Republican vote. So explain why the Republicans need to fix the Democrats' problems on this.
Well,
And I also
I think the best
don't
way
know
of
that they
fixing
can
the
at this
problem
point.
is 86ing it at this point.
Yeah, but to go to what? Because the cost of health care has gone up so much. It's kind of like the situation with colleges. The government says you can take out this much of a loan, then the college raises the tuition up to that amount. Then they say, okay, now we have to raise the amount that you can take out on loans. The college raises the price of tuition. Same thing's been happening with hospitals and doctors. And I think we've all seen the anecdotal evidence that, if you say that you're going to pay in cash, it's a completely different price than if you're using insurance.
Hey, Dwayne, I get the feeling that if you lived in a hunter and gathering society, you would be complaining about having to go out and hunt for your food.
Yeah. So we do not want to set up a fight in the midterms about healthcare. The Republicans really do need to put together an actual plan that works. And I don't think that's been a priority since Trump won.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's all coming due. So we have the government. We're going to have to fix it on, for the Democrats. But don't know. Don't know what that fix is going to look like at this point. But
just because you live in Montana doesn't mean you know how to fucking hunt, buddy. And that's not what I was getting at, and you know it. So shut the fuck up.
The funny thing about the whole reopening is Schumer's livid that a whole bunch of people crossed, including Fetterman. And Schumer's basically saying the quiet part out loud because he's upset because the Affordable Health Care Act is not affordable. And that's what he's complaining about is, well, we can't reopen until they fix the Affordable Care Act. And it's like, okay, why is it broken? You guys did this. This is all your legislation. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's like you said, man, it was designed poorly because ultimately they want to get to the single payer option, the public option, and yeah, and we all know how that goes. Just take a look at Canada.
Yep. Or just about anywhere in Europe.
Yep.
So, yeah, half of our show went out because of this. We can hit on the elections a little bit, just because we've talked about them for 2 or 3 weeks, and now the elections took place, so we might want to revisit them. It wasn't the greatest night. It also, to me, wasn't that big of a surprise, and I don't think from the way we were talking about it that it was that far off of what our projections were on what was going to happen. The only thing that might have been a slight difference was New Jersey. So I don't know. What do you think about communist in New York?
Well, I think if Dwayne hates capitalism so much, he should move to New York and see how well things turn out. Um, yeah, we all know how this was going to go. It wasn't a surprise that Mom Donnie won. It's one of those we'll just have to wait and see how much of his agenda he's able to push through, because we know that Hochul's not going to play ball. There's a lot of different things that he's brought up, and Cuomo has rightfully pointed out that's not how things work.
That's not how the government
Yeah,
works.
that's not how the government works. So either Mom Donnie thinks he's a dictator, which very well could be a possibility. But I think that he's going to have a very tough time going and implementing those changes as mayor of New York City, because there's all these other things that basically kind of stand in the way of his socialist agenda. But we'll see. It's one of those, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Well, I think the bigger issue with New York, well, with this whole election, what we saw from exit polling and other information is that I think young women went almost 80% for the Democrats in every single one of these races.
Yes. And there was a lot of non-native New Yorkers that voted for Mom Donnie. So they were either transplants or illegals.
People who have been in the city for 5 years or less.
Yeah.
Yes. But ultimately, the housing market is already flipping because people are desperately trying to get out of New York.
Yeah.
Like there are a number of realtors who have already said, all I will be doing for the next 2 to 3 months is getting people out of New York and into North Carolina and Florida. Hopefully those are the people who didn't want Mom Donnie because they are a little bit more red and don't take their New York mentality to those other states. But we will see. But there's mass migration happening.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Dr. Jones
it is
right.
definitely
It's the
concerning.
economy.
Yeah, I remember during COVID, I was having the internet, basically fiber installed at the ranch, and I was talking to the cable guy, and we're talking about the whole thing with a bunch of people coming in, from California. I'm like, yeah, that's the last thing we need is to turn the state blue. He's like, oh no, these are all conservatives. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Damn
that's
that
good.
Keri.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's that's something they're gonna try it, man. They're already doing some weird shenanigans here in Texas, where you have this guy that went out and bought all this land in this like unpopulated or underpopulated county in Texas. And
Yeah.
he's like, if you want to move here, move here. And basically it's going to be a takeover of this county. And I'm wondering if this is an experiment, and that you'll see more of this later on, where you have these red states getting infiltrated by and basically hitting lower populated counties where they can go and just stuff people in there and slowly start taking over. So,
Well, I think they could do that when they still had the spigot turned on at the border.
yeah,
I think it's going to be harder for them to do that because they have to keep their numbers up in those states without importing illegals now. Because we all know that the illegals are being counted in the census. That's not a secret. Nobody's lying about that. That happens. That's how the census is set up. So they're keeping their electoral votes and their seats because of the illegal immigration. And if you shut that off and start getting people out, then you can't export your voters into other states because you have to be able to keep your population up to keep your state's power. So the California model may not work as well as it did before. Of course, that's assuming that we keep the government for long enough to actually get some of these people out of here.
Yep. Yeah, getting the illegals out, I think is probably one of the biggest thing that needs to happen. I know Trump has been doing it. It doesn't seem like it's been happening as much as I would like for it to happen. But that's the big thing, is making sure that we get the people out that don't share our ideals and our vision for this country, same morality, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if you saw the and I don't know how much Mom Donnie is going to be, turning New York into some, caliphate, but you did have like this one guy saying that New York belongs to Islam now. I don't know how true that is. I get that's definitely one of those things it's a matter of time. I guess we'll see. But yeah,
Well,
it's going to be an interesting, I would say,
even
next
at
4
the
years for
city
New
and
York.
state level, you have checks and balances that are meant to keep a despot from being able to do whatever he wants. So
Right.
there
right.
are checks, and he's not the governor; he's a mayor.
No, he's not. He's only the mayor of New York, which means he can only fuck up New York, but only so much because there, like you mentioned, there's checks and balances. You know, he can't go and implement the the price controls like you said with rent because there's actually a board that actually sets that.
But what he can do is basically have a whole bunch of things that he could put through that are just going to make it miserable for every New Yorker.
Well, I mean, there's
Like
the thing
if
where
he's
he talked
able to
about,
get the free buses, if he's able, I mean, he's going to have the homeless basically take over the city is what it seems like will happen with the things that he can implement.
Well, there's the other thing too, where he's talked about going and taxing white neighborhoods, which is
right.
Illegal. I'm pretty sure you just can't go, hey, let's go black, tax black neighborhoods. Then, I mean, that's that would not fly. And that's one of the things that I thought was funny, just watching these videos with him talking about this stuff. And he actually got called out on it. He's like, well, it's just the, property values in these areas. So are you going to retract that from your website then? No.
Yeah. And we'll see on the grocery stores thing. I mean, they may be able to open 5 of them, but you're still going to have your regular grocery stores. And
and
we've
again,
seen
I
in
don't
Kansas
see that
City,
working.
that's not going to undercut the rest of the grocery stores because those places don't get stocked and they don't tend to run real well because you're not exactly drawing the most lawful of citizens to shop in those grocery stores.
Well, there's a lot of things I think that he can hide behind when it comes to his failures. He can simply blame, a bunch of other things. The big one, I think the big one for New York, which several people have pointed out, and I tend to agree with this, is going to be crime. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be the true marker. That is like the one thing that he can actually control is crime in New York City. A lot of the stuff that he will deflect on, he'll blame Hochul for stuff. He'll blame the rent boards, for not getting that agenda through. But if crime spikes in New York City, that is going to be 100% on him. And if he implements the stuff that he's been talking about with I don't think he's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Brahma, has he actually called directly for defunding the police?
He has in the past.
Okay. I know that he wants to do
this campaign.
Yeah.
He wanted to close down Rikers.
Yeah.
Which means you've got no place to put any of the criminals except for right back on the street.
Right.
That's his fix.
So
social workers, the usual crap that we hear.
Right. I was getting to the social worker thing. So we all know that he wants to implement the social worker stuff, which is what the Democrats have been saying they've been wanting to do, which I kind of find ironic, is that one of the city council members in Minneapolis who wanted to defund the police was assaulted a number of years ago. It's kind of funny how sometimes these things bite you in the ass. But at the end of the day, if he goes the social worker route and crime begins to spike in New York, I would say it's probably all over for his political career at that point.
Yeah. But I think, to me, the bigger issue is how we got here. So we keep harping on, Gen Z males, Gen Alpha males. They're coming up more and more conservative. The women are not. And the men will turn on. It's not that they're conservative. I think what has been shown is that they're not necessarily more conservative. What they are is wanting absolute change.
Mm-hmm.
I think the country has done a disservice to the millennials on down, really. Yeah. Of the housing is so freaking unaffordable that at this point, just from the beginning of this year to now, the average age for a new home buyer has gone from 38 to 41.
Yeah, and that
for the first time home buyer.
Pretty big thing too, and that's why a lot of people start looking to these socialist policies as, hey, look, this could possibly fix some things. It is because of the situation that we're in. And the thing that most people don't understand is that the problems that we're facing right now were literally created by government. course, they want to go and blame capitalism. It's all capitalism's fault. I can't get a job. It's capitalism's fault. Blah blah blah. A lot of the stuff is created by the actual government, and it's like so you're looking the very organization, the government that made your life difficult. You want to turn to them for a solution to make your life more difficult. That's the thing that it's like I said, because Mom Donnie in his speech basically said there's no problem too big for government to tackle, no problem too small for government to care about. And that right there is you're getting into communism. Okay. That is basically communism.
That's the tenets of communism.
Yeah.
That is totalitarianism.
Yeah.
Mom Donnie call Trump a king, and he says, and Mom Donnie's out there saying, no, government should be involved in every little facet of your life.
Well, the funny thing about it, going back to, I was thinking about this earlier when I was watching some videos about Mom Donnie, and it made me think about the whole thing with the No Kings protests, right? It's like, I'm sure a lot of people that support Mom Donnie were very much pro No Kings protests, but it's like this guy's coming in acting like a fucking king already. And it's like, and you guys complain about Trump, calling in the National Guard into DC. Meanwhile, we have videos of all these people talking about, wow, I can actually drive around with my windows down and not worry about getting mugged. And people are screaming that he's a fascist for using the National Guard to solve a problem that the city refuses to solve. And that's the biggest issue that we see in a lot of these blue cities, specifically Oakland, San Francisco, Chicago, Chicago, Memphis. Big one, is the fact that they don't want to fix the fucking problem. And this, the funny thing about it is it's like, if they know that if they fix the problem, they basically kind of lose their base to a certain extent. Yeah.
And
they're
Muriel Bowser's, I mean, I think it's still Bowser in DC. She did end up welcoming the help and was grateful for it. Nowhere else has that been the case. Not That's Portland, good. Not Chicago. But it also worked in DC.
Yes, it did.
So maybe they should take that hint, but you're right.
Oh, you mean that policing actually works?
That policing actually does something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Police presence actually makes those neighborhoods that they're trying to, say that needs to be safer.
Yeah.
Not
well, the very funny thing is that it's always the white liberals screaming that black people don't want the police in their neighborhood, and there's plenty of black people.
That's not what the black people say.
Yeah, we want the cops. We want the crime under control. We want to end the violence, the killing of young black men by other black men. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I saw a video. I mean, it's just a video on Twitter, but black guy saying, Trump, you need to get the National Guard out here to Chicago. We got kids killing kids daily.
Yeah.
And we've all seen plenty of anecdotal, videos on Twitter of black people in those neighborhoods saying, yes, I would welcome more policing, not less.
Yeah.
But it's also, let's just let everybody through the revolving door when they commit a crime, and we put them right back out on the street.
Yeah. And the murder of that Ukrainian woman is a pretty good example of that. Is how many priors that guy have? 14?
38, I think.
38? Wow. Okay. Yeah. There's no reason. And again, I am all for redemption and people paying their price and being put back into society, knowing better, right? Provided that they learn the lesson, provided that they're on the straight and narrow now and want to become a productive member of society. But if you're not, you deserve to be in prison for the rest of your life.
If you cannot participate or function in society, you need to be removed from that society.
Agreed.
The other disgusting thing from the elections, since we're still technically covering them, Jay Jones did get elected, proving that the left has no problem with political violence at all.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna quote Talks on this one. I agree that I think the people like us who are terminally online, people who watch the show, people who pay attention to shit on Twitter, probably knew about this, where the majority of the people that voted for him probably had no fucking clue.
Maybe. I don't know. Since I'm not on the ground in those states, I don't know how much the local news actually covered it. because
It's
that's where
hard.
you're
It's hard to
getting
say. Man.
that when
It
you're
is hard
a
to say.
normie.
Yeah.
But it came out early enough that there should have been plenty of people talking about it. There
Well,
was
and
definitely people talking in the online spaces, yes.
I think one of the biggest issues is that when it comes to the opposition, whether it is another Democrat or Republican, and this is like the one thing that Cuomo did. Cuomo, what did he do? He started running ads after early voting, and it's like, well, it's too late, man. People already voted at that point. This is one of my
Yeah.
issues with early voting is that
Mhm.
you may not have all the facts when you go and make your vote, and it's like, well, fuck, it's too late now, buddy. And I think it's the same thing there. Is that who did anyone run any attack ads on him? Basically saying he basically said it's okay to murder this Republican and his children. I would say probably not.
I think there was one that was ran like immediately after the scandal broke. But again,
That should have been
when it's not a
flooding the fucking
national
television.
election and
Yeah.
it's just a local election, even though it has implications nationally that we are watching, we don't see all the different stuff that we see in a campaign that's a national election. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to say, except for if people on the ground tell us.
Yep.
So
It's hard to say.
Mark Daly, we need election reform that ends early voting, among other things. I still want it to be a national holiday.
I agree.
And you vote on one day. Military and people that are out of the country are the ones that can have absentee ballots. Otherwise, it needs to be very specific circumstances.
For me, one of the biggest problems I had with my local election was the fact that they don't do parties for local in San Antonio, which is kind of annoying. And so you try and go and look up and find out what these people stand for, and it's like nothing. It's like there's actual no policies that they list that they talk about that they want to go and stand for, right? And so when it comes to picking a mayor or a city council person, you're kind of like, I have no idea.
You don't know their actual thoughts because they're not going to put those actual thoughts down if it means that they get locked into those when they don't have the D or the R next to their name.
Yes. And that, I find that to be a huge problem, because I mean, as you should do your own research. But the problem is when you're doing your own research and you can't find anything, it makes it really difficult to pick a candidate.
Yeah. Luckily I'm not in that situation. And the other situation that I use around election time here locally is we've still got some actual AM radio stations that still have some actual local hosts.
Right.
So they have a tendency to interview all the people. And then like the guy who's obviously a conservative, he puts out a voting guide just so people have the information of how he would vote. We've had Congressman Jeff Crank, since he's gotten out of Congress, he does a voting guide. So I look for things like that with people that match up kind of with my thoughts in general. And it's a lot easier to not be led astray on somebody that you don't know something about. Because even though I will vote straight R's down the ticket, it's only if it's somebody that I think is good. I don't just vote R just to vote R. If I know somebody's got problems, I will just abstain from voting for them.
The problem with voting straight R is that you'll end up with a Satanist as a councilman or something like that because he ran as a Republican.
You can have just as much crazy at the local level, especially as you would at the, as you would if you had voted Democrat instead. I mean, Colorado Springs specifically, this is the first time we've had a Democrat mayor in something like 30 years. But the Democrat, I think, was probably more conservative than what the Republican was that was running. So I guess the city decided to give him a shot.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing about it. I mean, there was a point in time in our history, Brahma, where we had liberal Republicans and conservative Democrats, and those days seem to be long gone.
Moderates.
Yeah, moderates. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Tina Guzman for $2. Thank you, Tina. Mail-in ballots should have to be requested by voters. In my state, they're sent out to every single house.
That is
every single person in every single house.
Well, and that
there's
screams
whole
right for
piles of them.
abuse.
Oh yeah, there's whole piles of them that go to people's houses that haven't lived there in a decade, especially at apartment complexes and condos and those kinds of places, because the voter rolls don't get cleaned. So then you've just got a whole bunch of ballots that, if you wanted to, take your chances with breaking the law, you could fill out a ton of them.
Yep.
I mean,
Kelly Hahn says that I would prefer mail-in ballots because I work a whole lot. Well, and that goes back to the whole thing we're talking about with the holiday, right? This is the reason why we need to have every
a national holiday,
a national holiday on election day so people can go out and vote.
Yeah. And you can still put a sample ballot out on the internet so that you can actually see the ballot before you go in to do your voting.
Yeah.
That way you're not just getting in there blind and going, okay, what am I going to do here? And taking 15 minutes to fill out a ballot. I mean, I do a sample ballot every single election just to make sure that the, double negative language that they often use on ballots is not tricking me in any way.
Yeah.
When I actually go into the voting booth. And I tend to vote in person pretty much every time.
I do as well. I usually do early voting because it's convenient, but as much as I have a problem with early voting. But going back to, like I said earlier, if it was national holiday and there was no early voting, that would be the most convenient thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the cleanest way of doing it at very
least.
Yes. Now, the problem with that is I don't think that the federal government can actually institute that. I mean, they could institute the holiday. I don't think that they can institute any changes to election day for local and state elections. They can
that's all.
They
that's
can
all
only
handled.
do it on the federal level.
Yeah, that's all handled at the state level, as it should be, right? Because we don't want to nationalize elections because that would just really open the door for election fraud.
Yeah. But in this election specifically, the only place that was kind of a little bit wonky looked like New Jersey, but nothing to the levels that anybody can really point anything out, except for we had another one of those supposed mail-in drops that Chitterelli was winning, and then suddenly you had another one of those going up.
Hockey
spike.
Sticks? Yeah.
Yep. I'm getting really sick of seeing that voting pattern because I don't trust it for a second.
That's the biggest thing is it's sus, right? And this is the problem with the mail-in stuff is that it doesn't look natural, and we don't know. It could be legitimate, but we don't know because it looks suspicious, which is the reason why we call it out and we question it. And the burden of proof really is on the government to prove that there was a free and fair election. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
But that is one of the things I was going to go with if we had decided to go the nuclear option to end this shutdown would be you get rid of the filibuster and then you throw through voter ID and the national holiday immediately.
Yes.
You also get a whole bunch of other stuff done.
Yeah. But sadly, I don't think any one of those things will happen, but that would be the first option. If I was a Republican in Congress right now, voter ID, get rid of the filibuster because we all know that the Democrats are going to do it anyway. So we might as well help them out, right? Give everybody a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And federal holiday for, the election. Do it.
It would be funny. It would be funny if we nuked the filibuster and then on the last act out of Congress, we put the filibuster back in through actual congressional law. We codified it. After
yeah. And that way they can't do any fuckery with it.
And then you can't just turn around and nuke it again without having the votes to do it. I think that would be hilarious. I think also if we have another government shutdown like this again, you force a speaking filibuster. You don't do the silent filibuster like we've done for the past, 10, 20 years. You go back to the original rules of the filibuster where somebody has to hold the Senate and speak for as long as they can. before
I
it
didn't
gets
realize
passed
they
to the
stopped
next
doing
person.
that. Really?
Yeah, it's just the threat of a filibuster is all we've got now.
The silent
We had
filibuster. That's
freaking
funny.
Spartacus doing the filibustering for whatever 27 hours wearing his diapers earlier this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know why the Republicans didn't say, okay, you're going to filibuster, you're threatening to filibuster, then filibuster. But you have to hold the Senate floor the whole time.
Yes.
Make them actually work for it.
Well, that's how it's supposed to
Don't
be.
just use the threat and say, okay, well, we know we don't have 60 votes because they said we don't have 60 votes. So we're just going to have this essentially non-existent filibuster happening where you're not actually making them do the action of the filibuster.
Get your depends, boys. We're going to go filibuster this bill.
Yeah. Would you love to see Bernie Sanders try to stand there for 18 hours talking without going to the bathroom?
Yes.
Because I think it'd be freaking hilarious.
I think
half of those people probably have prostates that that they have to go to the bathroom about every 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a whole bunch of ancient people in the Senate.
Yeah. Whose prostate's probably the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah. Which does bring us to something else, though. Nancy Pelosi announcing her retirement.
Wow.
Made the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Important.
Rather offensive thumbnail, I'd have to say.
Yes.
Queen Big Saggy herself.
2 gigantic melons touching her belly button.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's her street name.
Mm-hmm. Or at least her Indian name.
Yeah. Or her African name.
So Nancy, who has been in office, I believe, since 1987. I mean, that's only 6 years less than I've been on the planet. But yeah, she's been in office since 1987. She has enriched herself to $130 million, 1,700% return on investments. The Dow only did, I think, 2,000 during that same time period.
Wow. That's impressive, man. She must be really good at the stock market.
Yep. I don't think she beat the Dow, but I'm pretty sure she beat the New York Stock Exchange. The which one? What is the other one called? There's the Dow, and then what's the other market?
NASDAQ.
I'm blanking out. Yeah, NASDAQ. She did beat the NASDAQ numbers.
Which is
something one person has never been able to do in the history of the stock market.
Oh, she must be really good at trading, Brahma.
That's why I've got the app following her trades, trade by trade. So that way I don't have to pay attention. Nancy Pelosi just makes me money. I just wish it existed about 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. I wish it existed I would say 6 years ago when I had more money, I could just throw into the stock market and get rich.
Would be nice.
Would be nice. Yeah.
Because making less than $200,000 a year and coming out, $130 million ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Honestly can't believe that she was even thinking about running again. She's 85 now, I believe. So she'd be 86 at the next election because that's next year.
And she go, what was it, 4 years? 2, 4?
2.
6,
2 on the congressional seats. 6 on the Senates.
That's right.
Which is why the Senate thinks that they can play stupid games and just outlast presidents all the time.
Yeah.
Because they are actually elected longer, which goes back to the 17th Amendment being a horrible, horrible deal that we've talked about before.
Yes.
Where the states should be able to recall their senators and appoint their senators because the senators are supposed to be the representatives of the states, not individual representatives, just like Congress people.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the downfall of the Constitution.
Yeah, I agree. And it's something that needs to be brought back because we really do need to have the Senate actually represent the actual states.
Yeah.
Rather than voting
if they're
for
not representing the states, they could be immediately recalled and have somebody else sent. That's the way it was designed to work. I don't know why, when they put in the 17th Amendment, that they thought they were smarter than the founders on that because you got rid of the representation of the states themselves.
I think the ultimate goal and the reason why they did it.
Yeah. They want to get to actual democracy. I mean, that's what they're always talking about is democracy. So you can just get the majority rule and have one party rule for everything.
Yeah. Well, that was, I remember it was a number of years ago. I was talking to my wife and her sister, and we're talking about the whole thing with the electoral college and the reason why it's necessary. I was like, if you get rid of the electoral college, you're basically going to have two states determining who's president, which is going to be New York and California. And they're like, what's wrong with that? I was like, yeah, you think that is going to be fine until it doesn't go your way, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when you have people start flooding into those states that are more conservative that are able to flip the vote? And this is the thing they don't think about because they always think about they're going to be able to maintain power forever.
They have no ability to look at the future.
Yeah.
And project what might happen. Like when we're talking about the filibuster and going ahead and using the nuclear option, we know full well what they will already do with it. But we also know that they're already going to do that next time they're in power.
Mm-hmm.
So why not use it for our purposes for once? Because we never do anything.
Yeah.
But sorry, continue.
No. I mean that's the thing. It shows a bit of a lack of self-awareness, and this is the problem with any state that votes one way. You should never have a blue or red sanctuary state, right? Because if you do, you get what's happening in California, which means that they don't have to pay attention to the constituents because they already have a hold. They could do whatever the fuck they want. Gavin Newsom can lock down the state and go party with his elitist friends and basically say, fuck the plebs. And that's the issue. And to a large extent, it's also the same issue with New York as well. But the idea on top of that, and that really is kind of ripe for revolution or civil war or whatever, is that if you have two states that's determining the future of your country and you're like, fuck everybody else, that is an issue. That is a huge issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to the mindset of Katie Porter from 2 or 3 weeks ago, running for mayor or governor in one of the places in California. When she had that interview and she broke down and she was like, all they were asking was, how are you going to bring the 40% of the Trump voters, to maybe vote for you? And she was like, why the hell would I need them?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what having the supermajority in a state does. And I mean, Florida's gotten to be there too, but more in a different way, I think. Instead of grinding people under its thumb, Florida has become a place where people actually want to go to escape the grinding under the thumb. And it's by making laws that actually make it, an attractive place to go to rather than a place where you're punished for being there.
Yeah.
The Libra View for $5. Thank you. Electoral college helps the minority gain power from time to time. It's arming the sheep against the two wolves.
Yep.
Correct.
100%.
In my personal opinion, I think every state should go to electoral.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to bring that up, is that every state should do it for the governor.
Well, for most of the races, yeah. Anything that can be done by electoral college, do it.
Should be, yeah.
So your senators, I mean, your Congress people are all districts, but yeah, the governor and the senators, since we've already screwed up the senators.
Well, I mean, senators should go back to being sent by the state.
Yes, they should.
We already talked about that.
But that takes a constitutional amendment because we amended the Constitution.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't think there's anybody in the country who has the ability to get a constitutional amendment through on anything the way this country is split. The only thing you could do is the constitutional convention.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's typically, right, how they end up making an amendment is by doing a convention, I thought.
No, I mean, you can actually have put it as a ballot measure where if you've got, I believe it has to pass the House, the Senate, president has to sign it. Then it becomes a ballot measure that I think it's 66% of the population.
Yeah, that's
can
right.
vote for
It's
it
been a while
to
since I've
actually
studied this
amend the
stuff.
Constitution.
I just know that calling a constitutional convention would probably be a very bad idea.
Yeah, except at the moment, at least, it's like 38 of the states are red. So they're going to have more say than the blue states,
Mm-hmm.
which means you're not going to get much of the crazy going in. You might get a return to closer to the founder's vision, or closer to the founder's original constitution, and get rid of stuff like the 17th. I mean, it's not like we're going to go back to instituting slavery.
Yeah.
Nobody on the right's, talking about doing anything like that. In fact,
No,
it seems
as
to be
much
the
as
left that likes that. But
Yeah, as much as people say that's going to happen, it's like, come on, that's no, not going to
Yeah.
happen unless
Mark
prisons
says-
count.
Mark says repeal of prohibition was the only one that's been done by convention. I think everything else has been a national ballot measure.
Okay, that makes sense largely.
I don't know where to go from there. We've got a couple interesting. Well, I mean, we can go to this one because Daily Wire had put out an article, and it's basically from Eric Holder and James Carville having talks with other members of the Democratic Party, and essentially saying, in the first hour of getting power, they're going to move to destroy the filibuster, not necessarily by saying that they're going to get rid of the filibuster, but they would introduce something that says, in order to restore the faith in the institution to SCOTUS, we need to have the number moved to 13, because SCOTUS has lost the faith of the whole country and it's just operating completely out of balance with the rest of the government. So implicit in that is, if it can't get voted on with the 60, then since it is such an important thing, we would get rid of the filibuster immediately. So they're projecting it. We've all said this for 2 years now. I mean, they've been projecting the only thing that kept it from happening before was two senators holding up them nuking the filibuster during the last term, which was Manchin and Sinema, I believe. But we know that they're going to try to stuff the court, do 13 justices, and completely rebalance everything in their minds. We also know that they want Puerto Rico and DC states, which is 4 more senators for the blue side. Because
and the other thing
those
too is, we discussed this before, is that DC cannot be a state. I mean, that's like the whole purpose of why it's called the District of Columbia. It is the seat of U.S. power. It should not be a state.
But at this point, I'm not sure that the Constitution means anything to them, so I don't know that it matters that they can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you stuff the SCOTUS before you do that, they're going to make sure that it's people that are going to side with them.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say, is it depends on how they do it. Is if they do it before stuffing SCOTUS, then it's pretty much a dead deal. It will go to the Supreme Court and get shot down.
And
if
that's
they pack
exactly
the court
why
and then do
Holder
it,
and Carville are saying the first action they'll take is packing the court.
Fucking hate this hijacking of government. I really do.
And then they would codify the number of 13.
Yeah.
So that if the Republicans got into power, they couldn't just change it to 21.
The problem with all this is, the founding fathers, very flawed men. They had some great ideas on how government. They understood human nature. They understood the issues with government and how power corrupts. And it's the reason why things were set up the way it was. Did it need to be modified a little bit? Sure, maybe a little bit. But the problem now is everything that is being done to modify how our government works services to undermine the American people and the actual processes, how our government was structured, set up, and how it's supposed to be run.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think they ever envisioned a political class.
No.
I see the genius of the founders is that they did give us ways to amend the Constitution.
Yes.
And they made those ways of doing things difficult so that you had to bring most of the country along with you.
Right.
The problem is, I don't think they foresaw an actual political class. I don't think they saw the states giving up all of their power to the federal government. The senator
Well, I mean,
situation.
you can't see the future, right? No one saw the Civil War coming.
Sure.
You know,
But that's the beauty of what they did. They made something that is amendable. It was
Right.
never to be set in stone, but it was
Yes.
a great starting point.
Yeah,
then
it was.
they gave us
absolutely.
something that we could only corrupt more.
Yes, and that's ultimately the issue, right? Is that the system is only as good as the people who participate in the system. You were definitely right about the whole thing with the political class, and they should have been wise to this because it's something that they fled from. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, or
Power
at least the
corrupts.
people that founded this country fled from. So
Yeah.
the idea behind that, it should have been on the forefront of their mind. It's the reason why, the whole thing with guns, it was put into the Constitution, because they knew that the British were going to try and take their weapons away, right?
Well, they knew by signing the Declaration that they were all going to be hung.
Yes, yeah, that too. But they should have been very much aware of the fact that a political class could potentially emerge. But being at the time period, I understand that it's the gentlemanly thing to do. You go to Congress, you serve your time, and you go home. And that was it. And that's the reason why they didn't put any kind of term limits in during that time period, is that they never thought about, because they were mainly worried about a king, which is the reason why, for the longest time, it was it wasn't an actual
unwritten
restriction
rule.
Yeah, it was an unwritten rule. Thank you. It was an actual restriction that the president only serves 2 terms. The
Because
idea
George
behind
Washington could have taken a crown
for life,
and he said it would be better for me to stop after 2 terms, and most people stuck to that until FDR.
Yes. Yeah, and that's when they were like, nope, we're not letting this happen again. Yeah, but leave reviews. We're not talking about Civil War. We're talking about the Civil War.
No, we were talking
Civil
about
War.
the Civil War.
Yeah. Not Temple.
I do
Civil
think
War.
the country is incredibly separate right now, and I don't think there's any getting along with the other side, because personally, I think they want us all dead.
Yes.
I think the last 6 months to a year has shown us that. And I think the words coming out of their mouths have shown us that.
Yes. Well, especially with that one chick we were talking about last week, the kind of like the new female Joe Rogan of the left.
Yeah, she's Jennifer Welch, I think is her name.
Yeah. She's talking about how Democrats need to get on board, or they're going to get Charlie Kirk too. It's like, wow.
Yeah. If you're not going to kill everybody on the right, then we're going to start coming after you too. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and something we didn't get to last week. I think we missed this story because we just ran out of time. But the fact that a whole bunch of people from Trump's administration are being forced to move into military bases because there are so many people doxing their actual houses and threatening their lives. Did we cover that last week?
No, we didn't. I wasn't even aware of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a number of people, including Stephen Miller, who has been basically their families have had to move into military housing because that's the only place that they can be guaranteed any kind of safety, because there have been so many threats going against all of them. We actually had a story this week that kind of goes along with that. A judge actually ordered that the FBI cannot search an activist phone who's doxing Miller, and made flyers.
What?
Yeah, made flyers with QR codes that basically gave his address and circled his house. God. And on the flyer, there's a picture of Miller with a red circle with a line through it that says, "No Nazis in Nova." And liberal judges said, nope, you can't search that phone to find out who else she's been talking to. You're not allowed to do anything to investigate this. I've got the article. Let me bring it up.
Yeah, pull that shit. That is talk about an abortion of justice. The very idea of not letting the police or the FBI do their job. And as much as I have a lot of problems with the FBI,
But it's
but
just
yeah,
like threatening Gorsuch. It's like threatening Kavanaugh. It's
yeah.
it does not matter if the left is threatening people. They're going to allow it.
Well,
So
it's one of those things that, we all know this, right? The left can get as violent as they want, but the moment someone who is, right of center shakes their fist in the air, oh, they're calling for violence. They're calling for violence. Oh my God, they're calling for violence.
I picked up Nancy Pelosi's lectern.
Yeah, and set it down. Oh my God, they're trying to topple the government. They so much as a Democrat stubs their toe, a conservative gets blamed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality behind this nonsense.
So here is the flyers that she was putting up all throughout his neighborhood and neighborhoods around it. Wanted for crimes against humanity, Stephen Miller. Known white nationalist, totalitarian toady. And then it's got the picture, his face with no Nazis and Nova.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love how that they're like no totalitarianism, but they're the ones that are basically wanting
kill anybody who speaks out in any way.
My God, how dare they, say that men aren't women? They deserve a bullet to the head.
Yeah. So, video evidence from the Secret Service reportedly shows Ween walking outside Miller's residence and making gestures towards his wife by pointing two fingers from her eyes towards the home. So she's actually been physically stalking Miller as well.
And she's not in jail, or she is in jail?
I don't know where it sits right now, except that they're not allowed to search or investigate. They're not allowed to do anything with her phone to further the investigation. So, yeah, that's a thing. And this is, like I said, while many of the Trump administration has had to move into military housing for any amount of protection.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the story from last week because I still have it. But I don't know if I had anything. Yeah. Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem have been relocated to housing on U.S. military bases around D.C., primarily due to escalating safety concerns amid a heightened political climate of threats, harassment, and potential violence. Just so that we can show the source on this, I also have this article from last week, which I really meant to get to last week. We just got going on other stuff, and then it got late. So this is from The Atlantic. So they're basically having to take over like generals' houses and admirals' houses, that kind of stuff, because those are the only ones that have the like security level for their internet and everything else, because you still have to be able to, secure everything going in and out of that house, communication wise too, for these people to be able to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's trying to do you need a membership thing or a subscription.
Yeah. Well, you can always check archive.io, or
I'll just put it to immersive reader, and it bypasses it every single time. So yeah, it's a growing list of people waiting to get into housing because there's actually not enough of the high level military housing to get them into them yet. So, but they're having to separate themselves from the public because they're civilians, but they're part of the administration, and the threats are so outstanding that nobody feels safe enough to live in their own homes.
What a fucking time we live in. I mean, literally. I mean, I wouldn't wish this on any Democrat out there,
But the violence all comes from the right.
Yeah, the violence. Those violent right wingers, going after their own people.
Mm-hmm.
God, why don't they go after the opposition? Oh wait, because they don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Fucking retarded.
We're busy working and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I just can't fucking believe that this is the current state of things in this country, right? I mean, there was stuff I complained about back in the 90s that I thought was crazy. but it's way worse now. I mean, as a young 20-something hearing about Ruby Ridge, and it's not. I mean, it's something I didn't take as serious as much as because like when you're 20 and you're idealistic, you're like, oh, Nazi got shot. Who fucking cares? And as you get older, you're like, wow, this is not good, guys. You know, this isn't good. It's like I don't care for his beliefs, his lifestyle, but it's like this is not what the government should do. Okay,
and it's also funny how some things flip.
The government should not be putting a bullet through a baby and its mother. Okay, that's no matter what you think of that person and their.
Nor was it necessary for Janet Reno to have a ton of fully armed people breaking into the house to take Alien Gonzalez.
Yeah,
except we've kind of flipped on that. Because no, I don't think you need to break into every house to take small children and send them back to Cuba one by one. But I do think we need to be deporting the illegals. And I am fine with ICE actually operating as a police force to do it. I think it's overkill when you've got a small child and you send 20, SWAT members into a house. That's a little bit overkill.
Just a tad.
I mean, I can see
that photo,
what I'm getting at is I can kind of see some of the point of what they're trying to make on these things. But at this point, I don't know that I care because we let, 13 million in the last 4 years, and we've had 25 million living here for the last 2 decades, and they never changed the number. So, I mean, we've been invaded.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the whole thing with, no name provided being put on a fucking driver's license for someone, controlling an 18-wheeler. I mean, that is.
I think you'll like the
wrong
next
hands. In the wrong hands, guys. Those things can kill a lot of people. I'm curious what you got.
Oh, I think you'll like this story.
Okay.
And I doubt most people that are in the show have seen it. I try to bring you some stuff that is not just the stuff that we've seen all week long. This is about the mayor of Coldwater, Kansas, Jose Ceballos. I'll let the news reporter
let me guess
tell you what's going on here.
He's illegal.
Oh yeah,
he's fucking mayor.
Pretty easy guess.
Mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges
coming
come
through my
hours
wrong
after he
speakers.
secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach.
A second term in
charged
office.
Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S., but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022.
How the fuck is this man a mayor to begin with? Jesus.
A 2-term mayor.
2-term. Posit? It's like that guy who was running that school who was illegal. And
the superintendent?
Yeah, the superintendent. Yeah.
Making
like,
300-something thousand a year?
How the fuck does that happen? I am appalled that this shit is happening in our country.
I have been told that there is no chance that there are any illegals voting in our elections. That is what I have been told by the Democrats over and over and over. Our elections are secure. This guy's a freaking mayor.
Yeah. And not a citizen of this country. I mean, that is fucking bizarre.
It's another place where you're just downright evil if you're saying it's not happening.
I'm getting to the point where I'm like, and this sucks because it weeds out a bunch of people who could potentially be good political candidates. But I'm getting to the point, it's like, if you're not born in this country, you shouldn't be allowed to run for office, period.
Mom Donnie.
Ilhan
Omar.
Yeah.
Many others.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fact, hey, at least Fry won Minneapolis, but
why?
No, actually, I don't.
Because there's like a blood feud going on between the two Somali groups that are in Minneapolis.
You fucking serious?
Yes.
That's
So
funny.
there was a group that refused to vote for the other dude because they've got like a blood feud going on. Ilhan Omar was out on camera amongst the people, speaking in her native language again, saying, if a Somalian turns against us, then they are evil. We all have to be going the exact same direction to make this work. We're going to take over everything. That kind of crap again. Because Somalia is where all of them actually see as their home still.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the quilt instead of the melting pot.
Right. And the fact that the mayor basically gave his speech in Somali. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. He apparently he gave his speech in Somali. I don't know if that's actually 100% true. I should probably double check that. But
did anybody have the option to press 1 for English?
I don't know.
Night, Josh. Thanks for being here.
See you, Josh. Take care, dude. Simple Josh. Night, dude.
And I think that's really all we needed from this clip was, yeah, he's being indicted now for voting in elections that absolutely never happens.
Wow. That is just...
A little while back, I think it was Lee Review said that Cornyn was finally found, and they did pass the vote 60-40. So
was he face down a pile of cocaine and some hooker's tits?
I don't know what was going on because I'm not sure. They just said he was missing. I don't know where he was missing.
Probably out like on vacation fishing or something.
No, the call had gone out early that you better stay close around DC because they were going to be needed for votes, which tells me that they got through the election and basically said, okay, now we're ready to try to do something, which they basically caved. So
well, at this point,
it
I'm
was
I'm
all
wondering,
about optics and just making pain.
Well, yeah, I think the optics thing is pretty spot on. I think that what they were expecting is that the Republicans were going to take the brunt of the backlash. And I think literally nobody fucking cared. Nobody fucking cared. Everyone's life went on. Granted, I mean, if you're a government employee, it's a little bit different. But I think for the most part, I didn't fucking notice a thing.
I didn't. Of course, I'm not on Snap.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to fly right now either.
And I'm not on any welfare programs. As we established, I pay full price for my health insurance even. I think that they were hoping that the elections would be a referendum against Trump and the government shutdown too. And I don't think people saw it that way. I think they saw 3 blue states do blue things.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I was going to say when it comes to the election is I don't see that as a referendum on Trump because it's exactly what you just said. It's blue states doing blue things.
And Trump wasn't on the ballot.
Yeah. The fact that Mamdani won doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think a lot of people like, yep, that's how it's going to go. Why? Because, well, he's a Democrat or Democrat.
I
socialist.
truly think that is a whole bunch of people being imported into the country because even in New York, a lot of the immigration is legal. So you've got a large legal, group of immigrants there that can vote. And then I think, like I said, I think it's a slap in the face to the system from the youth.
Yep.
And I think we've got a liberal woman problem.
Well, yeah.
As much as I love the women that we all deal with in our chat and stuff, I mean, the opposite side, the liberal women, they are the worst. And I think we all know it.
Yes. I mean,
that is the voting bloc that is killing this country.
It is because women tend to be more susceptible to the more kind of like progressive socialist. I would
feelings.
Say, yeah, right. It's the, nurturing. We want to do right by everybody, and that's just not realistic. I mean, it's the you. I think women have a lot more luxury beliefs than men do,
Mm-hmm.
is what it comes down to. And again, hashtag not all women, right? I mean, there's lots of women out there that are conservatives, the ones in our chat that I think are very much grounded in reality. But I think that the main thing, and this is a problem on the left in general, is that they have a bunch of luxury beliefs, right? It's the utopianism. The whole thing with like, capitalism is the root of all evil. It's like, okay, let's take a look. Let's do a deep dive into communism.
But it's also the classism, though, because a lot of white liberal women have money and have nothing to do.
Well,
so they
a lot of the revolution
project to protect people.
This is one thing. I really like listening to Dad Saves America. He's got a great channel on YouTube, and this is something that has always been kind of pointed out. And this is something that he kind of reiterates too, is that a lot of it comes down to overeducated and underutilized individuals, right? That's basically what Marx was. He was overeducated and he didn't have a job. He basically couch surfed. Yeah.
Yep.
And that is very much very prevalent, is that you have these people, they spend all this money to go to college and they're like, why can't I get a good job? Well, you fucking took feminist studies. I mean, what were you expecting? Okay. You're not going to make 100,000 a year being a feminist underwater basket weaving major. And
there's not a call for that. I mean, that is not a thriving market.
No. And that part of the big issue I see with a lot of this stuff is the pipeline. That pipeline is college. And college, obviously, you used to be able to go there. Hey, I want to become an engineer. So I go to college and learn how to become an engineer. Now it's like, well, I want to, study this, that, and the other. And speaking as someone who has a fucking useless degree, all right, I have an anthropology degree.
I've got history with poli-sci.
Yeah. Completely fucking useless degree. And during the time period of when I went to college, the field of study I wanted to go into, I was the most interested in, was physical anthropology. And during that time period, the only job I would be able to get as a physical anthropologist, which you'd have to also get your doctorates, or not your doctorates, but become a medical doctor, would be going to the killing fields in Bosnia to identify bodies. That would be what I would be doing.
Fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. So I got my degree and said, fuck it, I'm not getting my master's in anthropology. I'm going to go get a job.
Yeah. Copied says, as a woman, I'm not opposed to repealing the 19th. Well, for what we have proposed multiple times, that would have to be done. Because if we go with, going to, you only get a vote if you've got skin in the game, and you'd have to get rid of the 19th because that enshrines votes for a certain group.
Yeah. That's my issue
That's
with the
also
19th.
why it makes it almost impossible for us to get to a different, unenshrine the right for everybody to vote.
Well, the biggest thing for me, I brought this up multiple times, and I'm not joking about it, is that I firmly believe that women have to register for selective service. And the reason why, and of course my cousin, who's female and conservative, doesn't like it. And I told her, it's like, well, this isn't your fault. It's all those other women who vote a certain way that ultimately cost people lives, and their life is not being put on the line. And that's the biggest issue, is as soon as you realize that the way you vote will determine whether you might get drafted into a war or not, well, maybe you might start thinking a little harder about the way you vote.
Yeah. Because if you can send people to battle on your behalf, but you never have to see it, that's an issue. So here's the numbers. 81% young women for Mom Donnie, 80% for Cheryl in New Jersey, 78% for Spanberger in Virginia.
Wow.
It's almost a 25% deviation from men of the same age. That's what that other chart was showing. So yes, the men still went quite a bit more than we would like to see to the left, but the women are skewing so far left. It's almost all of them. 80% is a huge number.
That is 80, 81%. That is insane. Absolutely fucking insane.
Yep. And did I get Copy Kitty's super chat? I don't think I did. Copy Kitty for $10 said, ban that thumbnail forever. You
ban
better
Nancy
be careful.
Pelosi for wearing, swimsuits.
I may not make it a thumbnail next week. I may make it the background behind us instead of the flag.
Oh, God. God help us all.
So, yeah. That happened in the election. Here's another interesting one. Maybe something you didn't see, but also another very weird problem in this country right now. I don't suppose you've ever heard of actor Roy Wood Jr.?
I have not.
Okay. He's kind of a bit actor. He's been on a few things, I think Breaking Bad and a few other things where he was just kind of a bit part. But he was getting interviewed by Shannon Sharp and was talking about how he did a show a few years ago, one of those where they kind of track your ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting things to say. This isn't a problem at all. Let's blow it up.
You removed
You know
it.
what's wild?
Oh, it removed
I did
it?
finding
Yeah.
I was supposed to blow up, not remove. There we go. All right.
You know what's wild? I did Finding Your Roots, and they found the white family that purchased the first black wood of my bloodline off the slave ships in Charleston.
Yep, that's what we came up of.
If I wanted to today, I could find the white wood descendants in southern Georgia and pull up on a fucking house. One day I will.
Yeah.
And do what?
One day
exactly?
he will.
Pull up on their house. Oh, you mean the people that had nothing to do with your ancestors being enslaved?
235 years later.
Yeah.
What do they have to do with anything that happened then? For that matter, what do you have to do with it?
Absolutely nothing.
But he's threatening that he would pull up to their house. There's more.
They ain't got no money though. I Zillowed they crib. They broke. Like, yeah. That's the thing we were talking about with slavery, man. Is that there was a lot of white people fumbled. Like, yo,
They fumbled the bag.
yeah, you had working for you, you still couldn't come up. How you broke and you had slaves?
Yeah, that was
Because
bad.
it's
That was
been
gold.
235 years.
Yeah, this is like the unrealistic
This is
understanding
the
of this
ignorance
shit.
of reparations.
Yeah, it's like it's fucking retarded, man. The very idea. Oh, I can't believe these people are poor. They're probably middle class. Is what they are, right? But it's like, God, man. You make it sound like, okay, let's take a look at MC Hammer, for example. Super fucking wealthy, now broke as fuck. Shit happens, man. Life comes at you fast. And it's like, and you are mocking the fact that they have nothing because he's an actor. Is that what he is? He's an actor?
Yeah, he's a bit actor.
He's a bit actor. He's got some money. He's got some clout. And you're mocking this poor family that had nothing to do with enslavement of your family. They just happened to be the descendants.
And we're, what,
and
9
you're
generations removed?
Yeah. Mocking
At
the fact
least?
that they don't have anything. Fuck off, dude. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Moderate K for $1. He should go back to the people in Africa who had his family and slaves before that.
Yeah.
Or the ones that sold them to here. Yeah. Maybe you should track down who the sellers were.
Yep. Yeah.
And really,
I bet
doesn't
the
that
sellers
just
look a lot
prove
like
that
him.
reparations are absolute trash idea?
Well, the thing
Because
for
he
me,
went and found the people that owned his family,
right.
and they've got nothing. In his words.
Right. The thing for me, this is the biggest problem when it comes to sins of slavery in this country, is that they want to focus on the fact that it was the white people who did it. Slavery didn't exist until the transatlantic slave trade that happened, which is complete bullshit. Every
It still
society
exists.
has it. It still exists at 100% in the Middle East and in Africa.
And in Africa,
But
at a
the
high
main
rate.
thing is they don't go and say, "Hey, wait a minute, wait." And this is the issue with tribalism, right? Or the whole in out group situation is it's so easy to go, "Oh, look at these white people. They're the ones who did this to me because they look different than me." Then for him to go, these motherfuckers over in Africa, they're just as complicit. They're just as responsible as the people who bought them, right? Obviously, if you don't have a supply, you don't have a demand. If you don't have a demand, you don't have a supply. Right? That's how that shit kind of works. And of course, they're going to blame capitalism for that as well. But would you say that these African tribes selling slaves were capitalist?
I think they were just doing what they've always done.
Yeah.
Because
That's the thing.
Eric makes the point that they were already slaves in Africa.
Yep.
A lot of the people sold were already taken and made slaves in Africa before they were shipped across.
Yes, that is true.
You just became a slave in a different area.
But the thing is, the reason why dipshits like the individual we had previously in our chat, they always want to go after capitalism. They want to say capitalism is racist because of the slave trade. That's what they're going to run to, rather than realizing that
1619 project and all.
Yeah, rather than realizing that capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system. Does it have problems? Absolutely. But the problem
it's
is
also the only thing that's created wealth throughout history for people who had no wealth.
Yes. But the problem is they don't understand that things like the Holodomor are direct cause of communism, which is the very thing that they advocate for. They think they're going to have this grand utopia, right? This grand utopia, but in reality, it's not going to be the case.
Yep. We got one more story. One last story. It's going to be a little bit shorter show because it's just me and Comix trying to do this. So,
we have topics. I have stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So you remember January 6th?
Is it like some new holiday or something? Or
for the people on the left, yes, it is considered a holiday. The most egregious day in the history of the country.
Is it the murder of Ashley Babbitt Day? Is that?
Yeah. The only person who died that day?
Yeah.
Do you remember the pipe bombings or the pipe bombs?
Yes, I do distinctly remember that there was pipe bombs that they complained about, and that nobody really had an idea of where they came from.
Found where? Do you remember?
Shit, no, not off the top of my head.
At the DNC and the RNC.
Oh, okay.
The DNC, where Kamala Harris happened to go to that day for no reason at all. The conspiracy theory is, I'll just give the conspiracy theory here, that it was Plan B. If the Capitol riot didn't happen, then they were going to have a pipe bomb explode to show that people were trying to take out Kamala Harris. That's the conspiracy theory.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I mean, who fucking knows?
It wouldn't have actually done anything because it wasn't a big enough bomb to do anything, but it would have gone off near the building that they had her at for some reason that day during the certification of the election.
I'm guessing it's going to be one of those situations where she's comfortably enough away from the explosion that she will be fine, but close enough to put her life, quote unquote, in danger.
In jeopardy. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is coming from Town Hall. It originally originated from the Blaze and from the Glenn Beck program, but they had experts come in with the new footage of the person that that planted the pipe bombs. Yeah, turns out this person was a former Capitol Police officer who left the Capitol Police in 2021 and took a role at the CIA.
Oh, I was gonna say, was he working for MAGA? Oh, CIA. Yeah.
Well,
she.
She. And the way they figured it out is they did an analysis, an AI analysis, and a specialist analysis of the gait of the person, and then matched it with 94 to 98% probability to this person that was a Capitol policeman, policewoman, whatever.
Wow.
And then they immediately went into the CIA.
Huh. That's Wait. Was
So
she?
this stuff is all kind of
was she a police
breaking still.
officer at the time? Still?
So left in mid 2021, so would have been a Capitol police officer in
Wow.
January, and then within months moved over to the CIA and
Well,
worked
she's
in campus
MAGA,
security
right,
at the
Brahma?
CIA. Oh, I'm sure. So we now have the gait toe back,
Gates, yeah,
like how you walk.
How you walk, yeah. Yeah, that's
Everybody
called
has
your gait.
a rather unique way
Gait.
of walking.
Yes.
And it is something that is similar to a fingerprint, where if you've got a number of individuals that you can compare it to, they can kind of narrow it down to, yes, it matches with this person.
But Toback, I did go and Google this, and this is a fact. She was indeed wearing grapes on her head, though, and I totally did not make that up right now.
So yeah, we were pretty sure we've got a match. This is all still something that has been coming out. It's not 100% accurate, but it is pretty much a certainty that it was this person. So we'll see if anything happens here. But it was interesting that information kind of came out, because if you all recall, before Bongino went into the FBI, this was the thing he was ranting and raving about nonstop, that he really wanted answers to, was what's going on with these pipe bombs, because they did run the bomb sniffing dogs through the area. They ignored the pipe bombs, even though they had already been planted there. Then they brought Kamala Harris to the DNC building, even though there was no real explanation for why she would be there while everything was going on at the Capitol. So, yeah, kind of interesting. But we're finally seeing some breaking stuff, and it's coming not from the government, but from Blaze and Glenn Beck. That's who had the analysis done.
Well, the thing, okay, well, this is like the whole thing when we find out.
This is actual investigative reporting.
Right. When we were all speculating there had to be, like, FBI in the crowd, and they're like, oh, there was no FBI in the crowd. And then it turns out, guess what? There was FBI in the crowd.
Yeah, Brennan saying, no, we don't think there was anybody there that day. There were no assets.
No
and
assets.
Then it turns out 275.
200. Holy shit, dude. 275.
275 assets buried amongst the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think we can all assume that
they were peacefully protesting with the rest of the protesters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember the dude's name anymore because it's gotten so buried out of the news.
God, yeah.
We all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
The one guy who was like, we've got to go into the Capitol. We've got to take it over, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then they never interviewed him or did anything with him.
He mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to jail if it's a 85-year-old granny who just took a tour within the ropes.
Or if you have a, crazy buffalo headdress or something, and you're walking around being escorted by cops, and
the MAGA shaman.
Yeah. I thought he was
We'll have to have him on,
shaman.
or QAnon shaman. Yeah. We'll have to have him on at some point. I know enough people who know him that we could probably.
Ray Epps. Thank you,
Ray Epps.
GJJ.
Yep.
Ray Epps. Yes.
It looks like Common Nerd has rated the stream. At least I'm assuming that's who Jess 1971 is. So thank you, Common Nerd. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks.
I'm sure nothing will come of it.
The Blaze was going to release it and decided to hold off for a little bit, and they gave the information, I think, over to the FBI, to an FBI agent, but it has kind of come out through Town Hall, which is related to Red State.
Yes,
it's one of
that's where Jeff
sister
Charles
companies.
is at now.
Yep. So, yeah. that I found that one interesting because we're finally getting some information about that 5 years later, and it didn't take much to figure it out.
Well, the crazy thing about it is that, you know, when the history books get written about this era,
Yeah.
that shit's going to get left out. You know, the stuff about there being like 200 plus, you know, FBI agents amongst the crowd, the fact that you have an individual who goes and drops these things off, and, you know, they think it might be this, you know, Capitol police officer, and now they're, you know, part of the CIA.
Well, and things really didn't start getting lit until the police started firing pepper balls into the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everybody started going crazy, and that's when the cameras turned on. And remember, Nancy Pelosi had her daughter there so that they could film a documentary about what was going on that day.
Documentary, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Then she claimed absolutely that it was Trump's fault that the National Guard wasn't there, but also during the same documentary, but not released for another 3 or 4 years, the information from it was her on camera claiming, "This is all my fault. We should have had the National Guard here."
Yeah, and who blocked that from happening, Brahma? Do you know?
That would be the Speaker of the House, who has control over that situation.
Oh,
with the Capitol Police
and
the
who
National
was
Guard.
Speaker of the House during that time period?
That would be Nancy Pelosi from the
Oh my
thumbnail
God,
that
I'm
everybody loves.
shocked.
Yep, copied is sad that we have to have investigative journalists with like Crowder and Blaze to find out anything, because the FBI and the CIA don't do crap.
Well, let's be honest. That's the whole point of journalists to begin with, right? Is that we all know that the government is never going to come clean with this stuff. It's the reason why the Fifth Estate is so important, and it needs to be independent, and it needs to be not biased by one side or the other, because it's responsible for going in and checking the government, exposing, you know, the deceit, the lies, the fucked up shit that our government actually does, holding them accountable as a result. But instead, what we have is them basically being a megaphone for the government, basically taking the talking points, and it going one way. There's a really good image that shows that. It shows, like, the people, and there's a journalist basically shouting at the government. So it was like then and now it's been flipped, and it's the the journalist shouting the talking points from the government to the people.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Associated Press. I mean, how often do we see all of the news people start using the exact same wording for everything?
Yeah.
It's also every single broadcast.
Yeah. This is the issue with consolidation. It's not just bad for entertainment, but when it's also bad for news, is that when you have so many outlets, local outlets owned by the same company, they're all going to spew out the same talking points. And that is a huge, huge issue.
Yep. Looks like Jaffo sent over the stuff about the BBC. So a few of the heads of the BBC had to step down because the BBC had been editing or doctored the Trump speech from January 6th. And so,
surprise.
6 years later, 5 years, 6 years later, now we're actually seeing some heads rolling for it. But it's like, well, the lie's already spread.
Well, and this is the thing that scares me about AI video. As much as it's funny for memeing and all this shit, it's that it doesn't need to be proven wrong, or I'm trying to formulate the thought here. The problem with it is that if you have an AI video basically of Trump saying, "I love Hitler, he's the greatest," like Nick Fuentes does, right? And the media gets a hold of it and puts it out.
Well, let's roll this with what's going on with Critical Drinker. I'm sure you saw that, right?
No.
Critical Drinker. So a YouTube channel, started doing AI videos using an AI version of Critical Drinker's voice, and basically made pretty crappy versions of Critical Drinker's videos and started putting them out.
No, I didn't hear about this. That's crazy.
No, Drinker on Twitter, he was like, am I crazy or is this my voice? And it is 100% his voice. Apparently, his voice has been heard enough that in one of the places where you can go buy the voice mods for different people,
Mhm.
Drinkers is one of those mods, and this channel started using it. So how long is it before somebody uses a mod like that and makes a video that gets somebody canceled or
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
called out of it? Yeah, that's why I'm using this example, because
Yeah.
this is happening right now with Drinker.
Well, and it's the idea of saying, "Oh, look at these awful things that Trump said," right? And Trump's like, "I didn't say that." Well, we have the video right here, and even if it does come out that the video is fake, enough people are going to go and believe it and continue to believe it. Look at the whole thing.
You repeat the lie enough and it's truth, or
Yes.
the first time the news gets out is the one that most people believe because
Right.
nobody retracts anything.
Look at what Kyle Rittenhouse and the fact that there are still people out there that believe Kyle Rittenhouse killed black people.
Yeah. Or that crossing state lines is an issue.
Yeah.
Even
that's
Anna Kasparian backed off that, but she preached it for 6 or 7 months minimum.
Right. That's the thing that is so fucking frightening about the AI stuff, is that something's going to happen. It's going to be fake, and people are going to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that's so fucking dangerous right now with AI stuff. And like I said, I am a fan of it. It's fun. The memes are great. I'm very happy that currently AI cannot replicate my voice very well. Which
Gary was saying, well, I speak retarded enough that it's never going to be able to figure out my cadence.
Well, no, it's not just the cadence. It's like if you actually listen to some of the stuff where, AI tries to clone my voice, it does not sound like me. It's like it kind of does, but it doesn't at all.
Yeah. But we also all use a little bit of mic modulation.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but we try to make our voices sound the best we can make them sound with the
Yes,
mics
absolutely.
that we have.
Yes.
So when me and you were talking in person, or when people meet us at meetups, we don't sound exactly like we sound on our mics. It's not like we're hiding something. It's just,
No.
bringing out the best sound we can out of the mics.
Oh, yeah.
We spend the money on the mics. But Dearest, I get what you're saying. It's close, but the point is, we all know that's Critical Drinker. That's the voice that they went with. Those of us who have listened to Critical Drinker or watched Critical Drinker long enough know where the differences are, and also know that the videos that the guy made sounded completely retarded for Drinker. Complete Temu Drinker. But the point is that they used his voice, and we all know it is, and they tried to pass it off. And how long before somebody has him saying something completely absurd, that then goes viral, that then gets him canceled or doxxed or whatever else?
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing I'm concerned about for the future is going to be manufactured evidence, especially if the polarization in this country keeps going down this route. Not just this country, but the world at this point. And suddenly you have the government going and manufacturing evidence to take out political opposition.
Sure.
Or average citizens.
Or just to rile up people to go do it for them, because we've already seen, we've talked about it before, but the issue right now is, it's not just that the left is so riled up and willing to do violence. It's that the leadership on the left just continues to say, Nazi, eliminate the Nazis. That's a Nazi. Hey, there's Hitler. He's Hitler. When you're using that talk, those who are a little bit touched in the head are likely to say, I'll be a hero if I go take out a Nazi.
Yeah.
Because Nazis are bad.
Yeah, that's something I brought up before in the past as well. And that is the thing that's very concerning, is the fact that because that's the language they continue to use and throw around, and you're a young, impressionable person who doesn't have a full understanding of how the world works or what's going on, and you hear that, it's very easy to go and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go stop the next Hitler. Yep. And then you get the Charlie Kirk situation.
I'll at least go down in history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Did you say you did have a few more topics that you wouldn't mind talking about? Because
No,
I've run
I'm
out of the
saying-
stuff I researched for the week. But
No, I mean, unless you want to talk about Nick Fuentes.
we can.
Yeah, I finally saw some of the Tucker.
The Tucker Fuentes
Yeah,
interview.
not a whole lot. But the whole thing with him praising Stalin for some reason is kind of
Right.
weird. Yeah.
My problem is Tucker did not push back at all.
No, that's
if you're
the
going to
thing.
push back against Ted Cruz, which I understand a lot of people don't like Ted Cruz, but if you're going to push back against him, if that is the type of interview that you're going to be conducting, then you've got to push back against Nick Fuentes.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, the very first thing, the biggest mistake he said, he's like, yeah, we'll table that. We'll circle back. The issue is if you have a guy who's both kind of like praising Hitler and Stalin, you ask him why. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah,
Right.
Fuentes is a dipshit.
What was great about
But he is fucking
Stalin.
popular, and that's the thing that's so frightening right now and frustrating. The biggest issue I see with Fuentes is that Fuentes is a reaction to the last 10 years of what's been going on with political correctness.
Yeah, it's young white males being called out for being the patriarchy, for being toxic masculinity, for being everything that's wrong with the world.
He is very much a creation of the left, not like intentionally manufactured, but this is the very thing that they want. They want people like Nick Fuentes to come into power and get prominence and become popular. So suddenly they can go and point and say, hey, look, we were right all along. There's the Nazi right there.
Yep, just like when David Duke endorsed Trump, even though Trump doesn't give a crap about David Duke.
No.
That's who they pointed at was endorsing Trump. And Jaffo, yes, I agree. A lot of Fuentes is him being an edgelord.
I would say,
but there's so much of the reality of what he believes mixed into his edgelordiness that there are those who are not going to discern when he's just being a dick and when he's actually telling you what he believes.
I think he believes. I think he is an edgelord.
I think to a degree he does. Yeah.
But I think that the thing, the edgelord thing, as much as I with certain people think it is an excuse, you know, there are certain things I will defend James Gunn to a point, because the dude is an edgelord. The shit that he posts on Twitter and whatnot. But there will be people who will take advantage of that. They will be an edgelord and they will spread their beliefs by being an edgelord. It's not just like, okay, I'm just being a dick. I'm being outrageous. I'm trying to trigger and piss people off. I do think he is intentionally trying to piss people off, but I think he's doing it in such a way that he's using his own beliefs. I 100% believe
he has his platform of a certain age group.
Yeah.
And that's worrisome.
This is very worrisome. And this is, and again, going back to Dad Saves America, he's got a couple of really good videos talking about Fuentes. And if you are a parent, you need to guard your kids against this shit.
Yeah, my daughter and her husband they asked me, so what do you think about Nick Fuentes after Charlie? I was like, do not go down that road. It's not a place you want to go. And Lindsay, I agree. I differ from quite a few people, including, I think, Keri on this one. I don't think it's against the law to platform somebody.
No.
But I don't think that you should give them a softball interview if you don't agree with them.
Not in the slightest.
It makes Tucker look like he agrees with him when he does not push back on anything.
Right. For me, if you're on the right and you're saying, well, people should be platforming Nick Fuentes, that's no different from what the left has been doing. Okay. It is exactly the same thing.
Get his idiocy out in the open.
Exactly. That's the reason why I said last week that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Get the guy, let him talk. And you need to let him talk, and you got to ask questions, because ask the questions to basically get his mindset and get his ideas out there, the bad ones especially, right? Because my whole thing is, like legitimately, if someone's a shitty person, I want them to say their shitty shit because I want to know who they are so I can avoid them. 100%, you know, and it's the same thing with Nick Fuentes. I want him to be out there. I want him to be allowed to say what he says so people understand what a fucking retard he is.
Right. But I also think the infighting on the right is absolutely retarded.
Yeah.
I can understand moving somebody that is that crazy in the alt-right to we don't really want to do things with him. But then you've got, you know, Tucker and Shapiro then going after each other. Because I don't know if you saw the fallout from this was Megyn Kelly's on her tour right now. She had Tucker Carlson one night and then she had Ben Shapiro the next night. They were already scheduled.
Yeah.
But now Tucker and Shapiro are going at it. Dave Rubin's getting involved by saying he would like to moderate a talk between Tucker and Ben Shapiro. Tucker's too big to be canceled, but I mean that's essentially what's happening is people are trying to take him down. There's a lot more agreement amongst all of these people than there is a few disagreements. It's not like Tucker is, you know, gone full blown Fuentes because he did a talk with him. Mark Levin kind of lost his mind. You're seeing a lot of things with especially with the Jewish right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm being careful here because I do support Israel. I would consider myself a Christian Zionist. I believe Israel has the right to exist. Do I agree with their government all the time? No. Am I that upset with Netanyahu? No. Their country was attacked, and I think he did what he did in retaliation and led his country through a horrible time. And now we're starting to get peace. I don't know what another leader would have done. I know he also took out tons of different people around the area while he had the chance to, you know, keep the future of his country a little bit safer. That's what I would expect our leaders to do.
Right.
Do everything possible to keep your country safe for the foreseeable future.
The people you don't want involved or running your country are the ones that when something like that happens and they say, well, we kind of had it coming, so we're not going to do anything.
Right.
You know, that's the thing you got to be concerned with. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened to Tucker. It's like, you know, when he was with Fox, he was covering some good shit. We're talking about, you know, the shit that was going on with you know, yeah, I guess so. With January 6th, you know, when he launched the show, you know, it seemed like things were going well, and then where it seems like things started going off the rails a bit is when he had his interview with Putin. That's where things seems like it.
It wasn't the interview with Putin. The interview with Putin, I think, was fine. It was his thing where he went into the grocery store and was like, this grocery store in Moscow is far better than anything in the U.S.
Yeah.
These streets are far cleaner than anything in the U.S.
Not realizing that they were probably he was taken there because
it's super
clean.
places that were completely
disinfected
disinfected to make it look good.
It's like the guy on Twitter going, "Hey, look at how awesome China is. If communism is so bad, why is China so fucking amazing?" And it's like, you're a fucking useful idiot, dude.
Right. I think that's where people started to question Tucker. And Tucker's always been kind of a weird guy in the way that he just kind of, all he does is really ask questions. And they go, ha ha. I mean, he doesn't really put his input in all that much. He usually lets his questions guide whatever the conversation is. But we have seen where he will push back.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker, I went and saw him live during the election. He was here in town. I saw him and Tulsi Gabbard. Tucker is very much MAGA, no matter how many people say that he's not. I realize he did not agree with Trump in the first term. Neither did J.D. Vance. And I think they both got on board when they realized how really right he is. So I don't know. I agree with some people in chat. I think Lindsay said it. I think Candace Owens is a bigger threat than Nick Fuentes is, because Candace has a bigger platform and she has gone completely off the rails.
Well, I mean, yeah,
You know,
I mean,
Charlie
there's times
Kirk's
too.
ghost came to her and said it was the Jews. Then, you know, we're
Wait,
gonna
wait,
we're
she
gonna
actually said that?
sideways. She said Charlie visited her.
Wow. Well,
Then
at
she
least
also
Nick Fuentes has
she
the
also
fucking
has
self-awareness.
sideways said that Erica Kirk and TPUSA were in on it.
Oh my God.
It's like, you're insane. There are channels that have gone into a lot of detail on the on Tyler Robinson and his trans lover. I'm trying to remember who it is. I'll look into it, because we've had people who have talked to people that were in the Discord, and this is all stuff that's coming out separate from what we're hearing from the very little that we're hearing from the FBI, that kind of stuff. But let me see if I can find that channel. But yeah, there is stuff with that Discord server and people that actually knew those two, and they basically said, so, you know, doing mushrooms, doing psychedelics, if you're already a schizo, can cause psychotic breaks, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that seems to be the situation with the trans person. And
that the
during
trans
one of the
person was
rants,
taking mushrooms.
yes,
Okay.
doing all kinds of stuff. And then, you know, possibly at one point had mentioned that was tormented by Charlie Kirk, and Tyler, you know, took that from his lover and, you know, acted on it. And that's why the other person acted, you know, like shocked afterwards, because after he came out of the drug haze and the schizophrenic break, probably had no recollection of saying anything about it.
Right.
But there has been plenty on that kind of stuff coming out from some pretty, what appears to be credible sources. People that proved that they were living next door, living across the way from him, that kind of stuff. So the stuff that Candace is bringing up is just completely out there. Like, she just makes up something. It doesn't stick, so she makes up another thing. That's what it appears to be. Turkey Tom is the channel that has been doing the stuff on Charlie Kirk's killer.
Yeah. I actually I saw some videos posted by him. I want to go check it at some point. And I've heard the name dropped a couple times too. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. So go check out that channel and a few of those videos if you want to get a little bit more information, keeping in mind that it is just a YouTube channel. Who knows? Mod Eric K for $1. We would have wiped it off the map, not announced before they were coming, so civilians did not hurt like Israel did. Not his fault Hamas made them stay. That's pretty much my feelings. There are a lot of people who are upset with Netanyahu. I think he did what he did for the future of his country. So I don't fault him. And he was elected. They are a democracy. Netanyahu is the person put in power. Toxic Man Flu for $5. It's all about the money. The left equals the right with different talking points. I was watching Buckaroo Banzai, and when it ended, it sent me here.
How the hell did that happen? I mean, how does your DVD send you to a YouTube channel?
It means he must be subbed here secretly.
How does HBO send you to a YouTube channel?
Jaffo says Turkey Tom does deep dives into weird gender ideology stuff. Maybe. I haven't watched anything outside of the few Charlie Kirk things he's done.
I haven't watched any of his stuff yet, so it should be interesting.
But he seems to be backing it up a little bit, so I'll extend, you know, the belief for a little bit until I find out that it's all BS or something. But that's the only information we're getting. We're not getting anything from the FBI on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one thing that I find. I know Tox mentioned this too. It's like
they're building a case.
Out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, it's like it seems like it just went and disappeared. But yeah, you're right. They are building a case. Obviously,
You're
they
not
can't-
going to release anything that could jeopardize getting
the case. Yeah,
the
I
death
totally get
penalty
that.
on this guy.
Well,
So-
it just seems so weird because we heard so much about it, for weeks, and yeah, it just kind of gone away.
Well, we heard so much about it when they were still trying to figure out who did it and find him.
Yeah.
After that, they kind of went silent. And we got very little information immediately after that. So
Yeah.
I think they were already building the case, and I think they got the trans boyfriend to flip on him.
Well, it should be interesting when it goes to trial. I mean, that's something I'm going to be fucking
Well,
paying attention
it better
to.
be televised.
Yeah, I doubt it will be, but
Well, the things that we have seen come out is they have pushed to let him wear street clothes during the trial, because you don't want Rama, you missed all my other rants on the last topic, FYI. Did I? They don't want anybody to be prejudiced against him. So he's not going to be appearing in his orange suit. He's going to be appearing in street clothes, apparently.
when he's being arraigned or what?
He's already been arraigned. So
Okay,
when they actually go to trial.
Well, typically, most of the time with trials I've seen, they're usually wearing like a suit or something.
It depends on the state.
I guess it does. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I was like, what the fuck? I had no idea that was even a thing, but okay.
Sorry, Eric. So back from the last topic. Mod Eric K for $1. AI gets to 94% human. After that, it gets to 100%, they said. I guess it is super accurate. That's regarding the gate. So 94 is where it kind of tops out, and that kind of equals 100%. And then there was another one down here. Mod Eric K for another $1. They were firing into people's heads and faces. I guess that is training 101 no. Yeah, about January 6th.
Yeah, the pepper balls.
With the pepper balls. Yeah.
That's a quick way to fucking start a riot.
And it did.
Yeah, that was the
by design.
By design.
I think that was all of them, Eric. Let me know if there was anything else. It's hard to scroll all the way back. Lindsay's still waiting for the Comey mugshots. They got the Trump one out there pretty quick.
Oh wow. Yeah, I wonder why.
Yep.
Wonder why.
So yeah, the whole thing with the split on the right, especially within the influencer group. I mean, I don't know that it really affects a whole bunch of people on the right, except for the people who are terminally locked in like us. Probably me more so than a lot of other people, because I actually watch all these people. Like, I've got a Tucker Carlson network subscription. I've got a Daily Wire subscription. I've got a Steven Crowder subscription. I do watch these people. That's kind of part of the way that I help put this show together, is collecting news from everywhere else that I can find it, along with what's written out there.
Yeah.
But trying to stay on top of things. But the infighting is kind of stupid. I did watch both the interview with Megyn Kelly and Tucker, and Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro. I guess the latest is Tucker said Shapiro could come on his show and they could talk it out. Dave Rubin kind of stepped out of it after that, and we'll see what happens. But again, these are just people that are, influencers at this point, that they do bring you the news. They also bring you their opinions. And Ben Shapiro has a completely different opinion on certain things than Tucker does, than Mark Levin does. And you can see where their influences are. But they have also both been powerhouses in right-wing media for a decade,
right?
If not longer. So you're going to get some disagreements. Rush Limbaugh disagreed with a lot of people, especially the politicians. And I think that's one place where Tucker and Ben probably agree. They probably both dislike a lot of the politicians on the right, just like the rest of us do.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's fine, right? When you have friends, you're not always going to agree with them. You're going to get into fights. You're going to disagree. You call each other assholes. That's life, man. That's just how it is. Same thing with politics and political friends. I guess the best way of putting it. It's like, we're not going to fucking agree on everything. and that's fine. You know, that this is the problem where we are in our country right now between the left and the right is that back in the day, if you're a Republican and you had Democrat friends, everyone got along. You know, you didn't agree, right?
Yeah,
Good
the
friend of mine.
senators go out to dinner and drinks after they have a vote.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen
Good friend of
anymore.
mine was a socialist. I am not a socialist. We were friends for many years. And, you know, politics was never a factor between arguments because largely in certain ways we agreed on certain things, not just how it was being done. We saw the issues with government, all this other, you know, stuff. But anyway, be
Yeah.
that as it may, we used to be able to be friends with the people that we didn't agree with politically, which is my point. And we're not there anymore, which is crazy. We're at the point where the other side literally wants to kill the opposition, and that is fucking insane.
And that's not just hyperbole, that's in polling.
Yeah.
Polling says that the left, by like a 60% margin, is fine with political violence.
Yeah. And that's very frightening.
Yep. Lindsay says she's surprised that Shapiro hasn't canned Walsh. Matt's been acting like a bit of a thorn in Ben's side. I'm not sure that Walsh is bigger than Ben at this point as a voice. And I think everybody at the Daily Wire knows that Ben is a little bit jaded by the Israel situation. So I don't think they're going to take any action on Walsh. I think they would be stupid to take any action on Walsh. And I don't think he's being unreasonable. I think he's just presenting a different argument.
What's going on between Walsh and Ben?
And Walsh has just been out there kind of counterpointing a little bit of what Shapiro's been saying with Israel and some of the other stuff.
Gotcha.
And Walsh has been out there. If you recall, right after Charlie, he said everybody on the right needs to pull together.
Yeah, I do remember that. And that's where I know, like, we're
and
like,
I think a lot of us disagreed with certain of the far alt-right.
Yeah, if you're saying we need to be... This is the problem.
We don't need to pull together with Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, we don't need to pull together with Nick Fuentes. Okay, if you want a really good example, if you want a really good example of how well this is working out for you, just look at the left right now because they did not excise their crazies, right?
And the crazies are now in charge.
Is not the same as canceling people. It's just it's like the Republican Party pointed to David Duke saying, "We want nothing to do with you, buddy. Go live your life." But we don't need your help. We don't want your beliefs. We don't want anything to do with you. And that is politically fine, completely fine. But that's what the left has done. And if you want the right to turn into a party of crazies, no, I'm talking about the right specifically right now. If you want the right to turn into a party of crazies like the left, yeah, sure. Welcome people like Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens in. That's where you're going to head to.
That's what I mean by a mirror. Yes. If we want to mirror the left, you're going to have your crazies being the thing that is reflected the most, because that's what the left is now showing.
Well, because
that's who's out there talking: Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Mamdani, Bernie.
Yep. And now you have that new political influencer that's basically going around saying
Welch.
If you don't fall in line, you're gonna get Charlie Kirked.
Yep.
Fucking
Talk sent another one in. Toxic Man Flu for $5. This right eating itself thing was predictable. I was watching Buckaroo for free on YouTube while doing something else. Also, Comix is asshole.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, it's just you've got just as many crazies to the far sides of each party.
Yes. And the
thing is, don't put them on display and make this your voices.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing is, if the right does go and embrace people like Nick Fuentes within the next 10 years, it's going to be those types of people that are going to be running the Republican Party. And that's not what I don't think anybody wants.
Well, and this is, again, the thing where Fuentes has a large following amongst the youth. You do not want your youth following that or Andrew Tate. You want to
Right.
get reasonable voices out there for them to actually look up to. That's what Charlie was there for.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people say that they were big fans of Charlie that are now looking at Fuentes.
Yep.
And that's where the danger is.
That's not a good thing.
That's why it's horrible that this is when Fuentes is on the rise again.
Yep.
Because we just lost the voice for that generation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Things are not looking rosy, my friend.
True. But we'll see what happens with the Supreme Court in the next few months with districting and all that kind of stuff, and see what kind of look we have for the midterms. But yeah, they cannot extend the ACA out to them. That gives a win to the left automatically, because they will run on the ACA for the midterms. And this is the albatross around their necks, not the Republicans' necks.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I think that's what we've got for you guys tonight. We made it to 2 hours with just me and comics, just back and forth.
We did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hope Chad has a great vacation. We are probably, unless something big happens in politics this next week, we are probably going to take next week off, because Chad's still not going to be back, and just having a Sunday off would be good just for a mental break. So I will let you guys know through the community page this week. If something big happens in politics, we'll probably obviously be doing it. And yeah.
Yeah, let me know, dude, because if
Mads is resupplied on the 13th, so he should probably be here next weekend if we do the show.
Yeah, let me know, because I'm good for next Sunday if you are. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably end up doing it, but there'll be enough news that comes out. But just in case we don't show up. So, what do you got coming up this week? You got any videos coming out?
I do. I have several ideas on videos I want to do. Last couple weeks have just been fucking brutal for sleep. Now I'm hoping that this week will be back to normal, to where I can actually get up early and make a video.
Just couple things adjusting to the time change, or just schedule?
Just schedule. I mean, there's times where, for some reason, I will wake up in the middle of the fucking night and not be able to fall back asleep, like around 5 a.m. So it's like if I go to bed like around 11 or midnight or 1, which happened quite a few times last week, where I went to bed at 1 and I woke up at 5, and then I don't fully fall back asleep. I'm just mentally dead, right?
Yeah.
I can get through my day job, and
then you're worn out by
9 o'clock
when we start the shows.
Yeah, exactly. Fortunately, I mean, I was able to keep it together pretty decently on Thursday, despite being fucking tired. And of course, I ended up staying up late talking to you two assholes till 1 a.m., which did help my sleep. But yeah, if things go accordingly, there's some stuff I want to talk about. I want to review Predator Badlands, because I fucking hate that movie so goddamn much. And I also want to review the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 that came out, which I played, and I just that game just has so many problems. I don't hate it, but but I have a lot of problems with it. It's a stupid game.
It's a stupid game.
It's a stupid game.
I'm trying to find it in here. I did create a Discord server this week. And I know Comix is going to reopen his at some point. But,
technically, it never closed. I just need to broadcast it to people.
Yeah. I've just got to figure out how to find the invite link to the Discord so that I could post it in the chat. Invite there. Copy. So if anybody wants to join the Discord, I'm going to try to be in it every day, at least for a little bit. And we've got channels for bourbon and boarding. We've got channels for the political stuff. If you see something during the week and you think we should be covering it on this show, you know, we can all research, you know, help me with the research and keep me up to date on some of the stuff that you guys want to see us talking about. And then, of course, just conversation amongst everybody. So let me drop this link out there real quick. And that should get you in. Here we go. All right. That should be the Discord invite link. So join if you want. I'm sure we'll all have fun hanging out there. We can post some memes. We can do some stuff for trying to figure out ideas for what stories to cover, all that kind of stuff. And I'd appreciate some help with if you see something, bring it to my attention so that I know that that's what you want to talk about. But let's see, this week I've got your shows. I've got Matt is not doing a show on Tuesday, at least that's what he has said so far. So he will be back at it as of the 13th, going on all the shows. Wednesday we may have a Christian panel this week. Friday I'm on Ascendant Art. Chad will be gone, so I'll be helping Slender fly solo. No bourbon and boarding this week. And then we're back here for the bullpen next Sunday night. So I've got some credits for you. Hope everybody has a great week. Sign up for the Discord. I'll see you there. And thank you, Comix.
Thank you, sir. It's a lot of fun as always.
Awesome. Have a good week, everybody.
Night.
Should we let them hear the song this week?
I mean, sure. I mean, I guess. Are you referring to just like us talking over it, or just or letting it play?
No, somebody asked if we could upload the song without us, so that they could actually hear the words and decide if they like the song. So I guess we'd be quiet.
Oh, okay. I mean, sure, if they want to hear the song or something. You could always post a song on your YouTube channel.
I'd have to find where I actually downloaded the song too.
Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Or can you actually download it from EVMux? You should be able to download it, I believe.
Maybe. I mean, the lyrics are actually quite nice to the chat.
I could tell you I have it muted right now so we can talk.
Oh.
Well, I muted it when we started because we typically talk while the opening runs.
True.
So there's that. But hey, look at that. We're at the end.
We are.
Credits.
And there's already a few people jumping in and throwing down memes in the Discord server. And apparently I set no rules for the Discord, so it's the Wild West. So night, everybody. Catch you later.
Good night. Take care. Have a great week, everyone.